Hello everyone, and welcome to my Young and the Restless Official 24 channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. The quiet of the evening at the Newman ranch was shattered by the trembling hands of Sharon Newman, holding an envelope that bore her son's handwriting, to Mom and Dad. The words were simple, written in Noah's familiar slant, but they sliced through her heart like a blade. Her breath hitched as Nick approached, his brow furrowed, sensing the same dread that pulsed through her veins. For weeks, they had been clinging to the hope that Noah's death was some kind of misunderstanding, that the autopsy, the police reports, the funeral, none of it could be real. But now, standing before his sealed will, their worst fears began to resurface. This wasn't just a legal document. This was Noah's voice reaching back from the grave, and whatever he wanted them to know, it was something he hadn't been able to say while alive. Nick's voice broke the silence. "Sharon, are you sure you want to do this now?" he asked softly, even though he already knew the answer. Sharon nodded, unable to speak. Her fingers trembled as she broke the seal. The paper crackled as she unfolded it, and Nick instinctively reached for her other hand. Together, they began to read. At first, the letter was heartbreakingly tender, Noah thanking them for always believing in him, for their love, for trying to give him a normal life despite all the chaos that came with being a Newman. But then, the tone shifted. The writing became jagged, desperate. "If you're reading this," it said, "then something has gone wrong. I never wanted to hurt either of you, but there's something you need to know before it's too late. There's a truth about who I really am, and what I've done." Sharon gasped. Nick's eyes darted across the lines faster, his lips moving silently as he processed the impossible words. Noah wasn't just leaving behind money or possessions, he was leaving behind a confession. The letter continued, "You both always said that love can save anyone. But love is what destroyed me. I didn't die by accident, and it wasn't because of who attacked me. I made choices that put everyone I cared about in danger. It started in London, but it didn't end there. Someone followed me back to Genoa City. Someone who knows the secret I've been hiding for years." Sharon's tears fell onto the paper, smudging the ink. Her voice cracked as she whispered, "Oh my God, what secret, Nick? What was he hiding?" Nick's jaw tightened. He flipped to the next page, his pulse racing as he read aloud, "The woman everyone thinks was my girlfriend, she wasn't who she said she was. Her name wasn't Audra. It was Sienna, and she's connected to Victor. To all of us." Nick's grip on the paper faltered. His heart thundered in his chest. "Connected to Victor?" he muttered, disbelief giving way to dread. Sharon's mind flashed to the night Noah had shown up bruised and shaken, insisting he was fine, begging her not to ask questions. She thought he was just heartbroken, but now she realized there had been something darker. Something dangerous. Noah had been protecting them from a truth that could shatter the entire Newman family. Noah's letter went on to reveal a timeline of betrayal and fear. "I found something in London I wasn't supposed to. It was about Victor's past, a file hidden in a safe house. It had my name in it, and Sienna's. When I confronted her, she said we were both part of a project, something Victor ordered decades ago to protect his legacy. But it wasn't protection. It was control." Sharon's stomach churned. She could barely breathe. "Control?" she whispered. "What does that even mean?" Nick's voice was tight. "It means Dad's been hiding more than we thought. According to Noah's letter, Victor had secretly funded a genetic research program years ago, one that was meant to secure the Newman bloodline." Sharon's hand flew to her mouth as Nick continued to read. "They said it was science, but it was manipulation. They altered records, forged identities, even created new ones. Sienna was born out of it, and so was I. Not in the way you think, Mom, Dad. But enough that the truth could ruin everything. If you ever find this letter, promise me you won't let him bury it again." The room spun. Sharon felt her knees buckle, and Nick caught her just in time. "Sharon, breathe," he whispered, though he could hardly control his own voice. His mind was spiraling, the idea that Victor, his father, could have orchestrated something like this, it was beyond comprehension. Sharon clutched the letter to her chest, sobbing. He can't have. Victor wouldn't, but Nick's silence told her what she didn't want to admit. They both knew Victor Newman was capable of anything when it came to protecting his family, even if it meant destroying parts of it. Then, as if that wasn't enough, the letter contained one more revelation. If anything happens to me, Noah wrote, it won't be random. It won't be an accident. The person who did this knows everything. They've been watching us for years. I think it's someone close, someone you both trust. Sharon's head snapped up. Someone we trust, she repeated. Nick's fists clenched. He scanned the rest of the letter, his voice quivering. He said he left a drive, somewhere safe. He hid it in a place that knows our family better than we do. Sharon's mind raced. That could mean Crimson Lights. Or the ranch. Or even the cottage. Nick nodded grimly. We're going to find it. But even as he said it, fear settled deep in his bones. The more he learned, the more he realized that Noah had been living a double life, a life full of lies, danger, and manipulation tied directly to their own father. Sharon couldn't stop crying. Every line in that letter tore her apart. She saw flashes of Noah's laughter, his sketches, his gentle eyes. She remembered how distant he had become before leaving for London, how often he had avoided her questions. Now, everything made sense, the secrecy, the paranoia, the quiet panic in his voice when she had called him just days before his death. He was trying to protect us, she whispered through tears. And we failed him. Nick pulled her into his arms, his own tears streaming down his face. No. Don't say that. He made his choices, Sharon. But we're going to make this right. We'll expose whatever this is, whatever Dad did. But Sharon's expression changed from grief to fear. Nick, what if Victor already knows we have this letter? The thought hung heavy in the air. Nick glanced toward the window as though expecting to see someone lurking outside. It wasn't paranoia, not when it came to Victor. The man had eyes everywhere, and if Noah's letter was true, then he had been monitoring his own children in ways none of them could have imagined. Sharon grabbed the envelope again, checking the postmark. There wasn't one. It hadn't come through the mail. Someone had hand-delivered it. That realization hit Nick like a lightning bolt. Then who brought it here, he demanded. Sharon shook her head, her voice trembling. I don't know. It was on the porch when I got home. Nick's stomach dropped. Whoever had left it knew exactly what they were doing, and they wanted Sharon and Nick to see it now, not before. As the night deepened, Sharon sat on the couch, clutching Noah's letter while Nick called Victoria. But as he tried to explain, his sister's lines suddenly cut out. Static. Then silence. That's weird, Nick muttered. She just hung up. But Sharon's instinct screamed something else. Nick, what if they're cutting us off? What if they know? Moments later, the front door creaked open, and Victor Newman stepped inside. His face was unreadable, his posture rigid, eyes dark with warning. I heard you found something, he said simply, his voice calm, but the edge in his tone made Sharon shiver. Nick's jaw tightened. You mean Noah's will? Victor didn't blink. Yes. For a moment, no one spoke. The only sound was the crackle of the fireplace and the soft sobs that escaped Sharon. You knew, didn't you? She finally whispered. You knew what Noah was trying to uncover. Victor didn't answer immediately. Instead, he slowly approached them, his expression hard. Your son got involved in things he didn't understand, Victor said quietly. He was curious, too curious. Nick stood up, anger flashing in his eyes. You mean he found out your secret? The one about Sienna? The one about your experiments, or whatever the hell you were doing? Victor's voice dropped to a dangerous whisper. Watch your tone, Nicholas. But Nick didn't flinch. No, you watch yourself. You lied to all of us. You let Noah die thinking he was some kind of mistake. Sharon couldn't take it anymore. Victor, please, just tell us the truth. Did you do this? Did you make him part of something? Was he? Her voice cracked, and Victor finally turned toward her, his eyes softening, if only slightly. Sharon, he said, almost gently, Noah was never supposed to know. None of you were. It wasn't about control. It was about survival. Nick laughed bitterly. Survival? You call lying to your family survival? But Victor remained unshaken. There are things you don't understand, he said. Noah wasn't just my grandson. He was something more. He carried a code, something that could protect this family if used correctly, or destroy it if it fell into the wrong hands. And now, that code is missing. Silence blanketed the room. Sharon stared at him in horror. You mean, the drive Noah hit? Victor's eyes darkened. Yes. And whoever has it now, they're coming for us. Sharon broke down, clutching Noah's letter as if it were her only anchor. Nick, overwhelmed by grief and rage, slammed his fist on the table. You turned him into a target. Your own grandson. Victor said nothing. He simply looked at them both, his expression grim. I did what I had to do. And now, you'll have to do the same. Because the truth, the one you just uncovered, is going to put every one of us in danger. As Victor left, the silence that followed was deafening. Sharon sank into Nick's arms, sobbing uncontrollably. The letter lay open on the floor, its final line illuminated by the flickering firelight, if love can't save me, then let the truth do it. And for the first time in years, Sharon and Nick realized that their son's death wasn't an ending, it was the beginning of a storm that would tear apart everything the Newman family thought they knew. The night refused to end. After Victor left, the house felt colder, heavier. The fireplace flickered weakly, casting long shadows across the living room where Sharon sat clutching Noah's will. Every time she tried to close her eyes, she saw his face, his gentle smile, his restless eyes, the way he always said I'm fine even when he clearly wasn't. Nick paced the floor like a caged animal, running his hand through his hair, trying to think, to breathe, to understand how everything had come to this. Nick, Sharon whispered, her voice trembling, what if Victor's right? What if we're already in danger just knowing what's in that letter? Nick turned to her, eyes blazing with defiance. I don't care. Noah wanted us to know the truth, and I'm not going to let Dad bury it again. Whatever he was hiding, whatever Noah found, we're going to uncover it. But Sharon wasn't so sure. Every word in Noah's will felt like a puzzle piece that led deeper into a nightmare. He said he hid a drive in a place that knows our family better than we do. What could that mean? Nick stopped pacing. It could be anywhere. Crimson Lights, the ranch, maybe even the art studio he rented downtown. But there's one place that keeps coming to mind, Dad's old office at Newman Enterprises. That place has seen more secrets than anywhere else. Sharon's heart pounded. You think Noah broke into Victor's office? Nick's jaw clenched. I think he was desperate enough to. And if that's where he left the drive, then we need to find it before Victor, or whoever's after it, does. Sharon hesitated. You can't just walk into Newman Enterprises in the middle of the night. Watch me, Nick said grimly, grabbing his jacket. Noah deserves justice. Before Sharon could protest, headlights flashed outside the window. She froze. Nick immediately killed the lights and peered through the blinds. A black SUV was parked at the end of the driveway. No one got out. No movement. Just the hum of an idling engine under the cover of darkness. Nick, Sharon's voice trembled. Is that one of Victor's men? Nick's eyes narrowed. Maybe. Or maybe it's someone else. Either way, they're watching us. Without another word, he pulled Sharon away from the window. Get your coat. We're leaving through the back. They slipped out the kitchen door, hearts pounding, the night air biting against their skin. Sharon clutched Noah's letter against her chest like it was a lifeline. They made their way to Nick's car parked down the road, moving silently through the shadows. As they drove toward the city, the silence between them grew heavy. Sharon kept glancing out the rearview mirror. "Nick, are we being followed?" He didn't answer at first. The SUV from the ranch was now 3 cars behind them, its headlights dimmed. Nick's grip tightened on the steering wheel. "Yeah. And they're not even trying to hide it anymore." "Nick, turn off somewhere, anywhere." He nodded sharply, taking a sudden left turn down a narrow service road. The SUV followed. Sharon's pulse raced. "They're still on us." Nick swore under his breath and pressed the accelerator. The car sped through the deserted road until Nick pulled into a dimly lit parking garage near downtown Genoa City. He killed the engine and motioned for Sharon to stay low. The SUV slowed at the entrance but didn't come in. It idled outside for a few moments, then drove off. Sharon let out a shaky breath. "Oh my God, who are they?" Nick shook his head. "I don't know. But if they wanted to hurt us, they would have already done it. They're watching, just like Noah said." After several tense minutes, Nick led Sharon into the underground stairwell that connected to Newman Enterprises. He still remembered every code, every shortcut. Even though he had walked away from the company countless times, part of him knew he'd never really left. They reached the 30th floor. The offices were dark, except for the faint glow of security monitors. Nick bypassed the electronic locks using an old access card he'd kept just in case. The doors clicked open. Sharon's breath caught as they entered Victor's office, the symbol of power, manipulation, and now, heartbreak. The room smelled faintly of leather and bourbon, the way it always had. Victor's portrait loomed above the desk, watching them like a silent judge. Sharon shuddered. "I hate this place," she whispered. Nick ignored her and began searching. "Help me look for anything out of place." Noah must have hidden something small, maybe behind a frame or inside one of the drawers. They rummaged through the office in tense silence. Sharon opened cabinets and checked bookshelves while Nick examined the desk. It wasn't until she noticed something odd, a small, silver sculpture of a falcon on the bookshelf, that she froze. "Nick, wasn't this in your father's study at the ranch?" she asked softly. Nick looked over. "Yeah." "Why?" "Because Noah used to draw this bird all the time. Remember? He said it represented freedom." Nick's heart stopped. "Sharon, move." He lifted the sculpture and examined the base. There it was, a hidden compartment sealed with a magnetic latch. Inside was a small black USB drive with the initials NN engraved on it. Sharon's breath hitched. "Oh my God, he did it. He hid it here." Nick held the drive in his palm like it was made of glass. "This is it. This is what he died for." Just then, the sound of footsteps echoed from the hallway. They both froze. Sharon whispered, "Nick, someone's coming." He quickly pocketed the drive and motioned for her to stay quiet. The door opened, and Victoria stepped inside. Her face was pale, her eyes wide. "Nick? Sharon? What are you doing here?" she whispered. Nick didn't answer. "How did you know we were here?" Victoria's eyes darted to the desk. "Because Dad called me. He said if you came here tonight, you'd find something you weren't ready for." Sharon's blood ran cold. "He knew we'd come?" Victoria nodded. "He's 2 steps ahead of everyone. He always is." Nick's voice was tight. "Then why are you here, Vic? To stop us?" "No," she said quietly. "To warn you. You're not the only ones looking for that drive. Whoever killed Noah, they're after it too." Sharon gasped. "Wait, are you saying Noah was murdered because of this?" Victoria's expression hardened. "Yes. And it's worse than you think. I've been digging into Dad's old security files, and I found encrypted communications between him and someone named Holden Mather. He's ex-Intel, one of Victor's fixers. But he went rogue years ago. If Holden knows you have that drive, you're next. Nick's heart pounded. Then we need to find out what's on it now. Victoria nodded. There's a secure terminal downstairs. But you'll need access clearance. I can get you in, but once we open it, there's no going back. They followed her to the sublevel server room, where blinking lights and humming machines filled the silence. Sharon's hand shook as Nick plugged in the drive. A password prompt appeared. He frowned. It's locked. Sharon whispered, try his birthday. Nick entered the date, and the screen flashed green. Files appeared. Hundreds of them. Each labeled with codes, dates, and names they recognized, Newman Enterprises executives, board members, even family. But one file stood out.